Well, my name is Rich Wistocki. I've been a police officer for 30 years, and my specialty was computer crime. Well, what we started to see throughout Naperville was that there were kids in this whole heroin epidemic that were involved in the drug trade. I have a question. Are there any 20-somethings here in recovery right now? Any 20-somethings? Raise your hand. Anybody? Okay. So I used to do this program called The Cop and the Convict. It was myself and a guy by the name of Tim Ryan. And Tim Ryan used to be like the Grateful Dead, right? He'd have followers everywhere you go. And it was the same people. So Tim and I used to do Cop and Convict, and I'm going to show you now, what does technology have to do with drug abuse? So you got all the facts, right, of how this stuff can affect your child. Well, I want to show you how you can detect it. So when I ask these 20-somethings, how many of you, those of you who are heroin addicts, how many of you started with weed? And they all raise their hand. You see, almost 92% of all the heroin addicts started with weed. But just because you smoke weed doesn't mean you're going to become a heroin addict, like Aaron said. So when I asked these 20-somethings, and we did Cop and Convict, how did you order your weed? How did you get your weed? How did you get your weed? How did you get your weed? Parents, all you need to do is look. The answer, if your kid is involved in drugs, is in their cell phones. Because they order it on Instagram. They order it on Snapchat. They take pictures of it. When they do it on a sleepover, they take videos of each other doing it and they put it on their Snapchat. So if you want to know if your kids are involved in drugs, you just got to look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a lot of tools to show you how to know if your kid is involved with drugs. So what does their social networks have to do with drug use? Absolutely everything. You see, when they're posting stuff like videos of bongs, and you see that tray of cigars there that are green inside, those are called blunts. You see, when we were kids, all the druggies used to roll their own joints. Our kids are so lazy, they don't even do that. They hollow out cigars and they stuff them with weed, so they don't have to roll their own joints. So if you're putting away underwear and socks and you see a little mound of tobacco, odds are they're hollowing out cigars to smoke blunts. So when you are in their social networks, so before I start on this journey, you have to know the basic foundation of my teaching. You see, parents, you are not only responsible for your child's food, clothing, shelter, and education. You are responsible for their technology all the way up until they're 18. I don't care if Nana, Nonu, Tia, Tiu, Grandma, Grandpa bought them that new iPhone 10 or 11 for Christmas. They don't own it. You, as parents, allow them to have it. They own nothing until they're 18. I don't care if they babysit all winter, cut grass all summer, to buy their own device with their own money. They don't own it. You allow them to have it. So the second premise that I teach parents all over the country is that there is no such thing as privacy for children. Can I get an amen? Yes. That you buy them the device. Actually, they're using the device that you give them. It's not theirs. Because the frontal cortex of their decision-making brains are not developed enough to handle what goes on social networks. And let me tell you where it starts. When I teach today, I taught 5th graders at All Saints. I taught freshmen in high school in Cicero today. When I teach 4th and 5th graders, how old are they? 9, 10, or 11 years old, right? But they all have Snapchats. Why do they have Snapchats? Did you know that you have to be 13 years of age in order to be on Snapchat? So when your kid whines and complains because everybody in school has it, their older brother and sister has it, you just give in. Well, our 9, 10, 11-year-olds, they say, yes, I can get a Snapchat. You're allowing them to lie about their age. So let's face it, our little kids are not the best mathematicians, usually because of core math. But anyways, so what happens is when they're putting in their date of birth in their social network, let's see, I was born in 2010. How old do I have to be 13? Do I go up with my date of birth? Do I go down? Oh, heck with it. I'll just round up to 2000. When I ask little kids all over the country, how many of you rounded up 2000? They all raise their hand. How old are they today? 20. So now I have a bunch of 10 and 11-year-olds posing as 20-year-olds. Who do you think is going to come talk to them? Adults. Who do you think is going to send them inappropriate pictures and videos? Adults. Because they're posing as 20 years old. Who do you think is going to offer them Xanax bars, weed, whatever, because they're 20 years old? Adults. So this is your responsibility because you give them the device. And if your kid is having an intense conversation on their device, in Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, and you say, sweetheart, who are you talking to? And they say, no one, Mom, it's private. Oh, hell nah. That device is going for a swim. You own that device. And you own that child. And I love Adam's inflection on, yes, we cannot be the helicopter parent. We have to give them tools to survive so they can go out and say yes or no. When we talk about social networks, this is where they order it. When you look at their social network, there's even software out there that I'm going to explain to you. You can see what they're doing remotely. You need to be monitoring what they're doing on the device you allow them to use. Because if they're talking about drugs, they're going to post about it. The weed. I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me right before I retired in 2018. So I was at Last Fling, right? I was in my police uniform. It was my last overtime assignment. So all the guys go into the Starbucks downtown Naperville, right? I'm standing there waiting for my triple espresso with stevia, right? So this very pretty lady comes up to me, and she's looking at my tag, and she goes, are you Detective Wistocki? And I'm like, yeah. How you doing? She goes, fine. I just want to let you know that you're the person who's responsible for my divorce. I'm like, lady, I've never seen you before in my life. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. She said, no, I'm just being funny, but it's true. She said, I kind of stalked you all the time my kids were growing up, and I went to every presentation you did at the schools. And I came home, and I told my husband, we need to monitor their phones, because if they're messing up, we have to correct it. We have to drug test them, because if we can drug test them, we will get them on a path before they become heroin addicts. And every time I came home, detective, my husband would shut me down and say, they got to figure it out. They have their own privacy. They have this. They have that. Now I've got a 25-year-old who's on his second round of treatment down in Florida. I have a 18-year-old who plays Call of Duty all night long in my basement and smokes weed all night long and never leaves the basement. I just wish my husband would have listened to me after I heard you know what's right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in their technology, you will know if they're smoking weed, being involved in vapes, Juuls, heroin, Xanax, whatever. So one of the things you need to look for is if your kid has a computer system, whether it's a desktop or a laptop, this is something called the darknet. The darknet Tor browser stands for the Onion Router. If your child has this glowing green globe on their desktop, they're going to the darknet. On the darknet, it anonymizes their IP so nobody can trace where they're going. But on the darknet, they can buy guns, they can buy people, they can buy credit cards, and they can buy drugs. There is no good reason why any of your little kids should be on the darknet. When they do that, a few years ago, we had 13 kids from Naperville North go to the hospital because somebody bought gummy bears on the darknet, and he was giving them out. And they had a psychotic event. Or whatever, they were overdose. I don't know what was going on with them, but that's where they got them, on the darknet. So there is no good reason why your kids should be on the darknet at this age. They can buy anything. They can buy weed. They can buy heroin. They can buy fentanyl. They can buy LSD. All in the darknet, and depends on who comes home first. If your neighbor doesn't come home till 7 o'clock, and if you're home at that time, they'll send it to the neighbor's house. And they're going to get a read on where they track it so they know what time it's coming to the mailbox. So again, they can buy anything on the darknet. So I want to do a little exercise with you. So remember, when your kids are involved in the drug trade, they will take pictures of it and videos of it when they get it. I want to do an exercise with you. Everybody take out your cell phones. Take your cell phones out. I want you to go to the App Store or your Google Play. Sorry, Grandpa, it doesn't work on the flip phone. Yeah. So you got to have a smartphone. Go to your App Store or your Google Play, and I want you to type in, hide my pictures or hide my video. Go ahead and go there. Hide my pictures, hide my video. You're going to see 10 or 12 different apps that allow your kids to hide pictures and videos that they don't want you to see. These are called vaults. These vaults, the most popular one is the calculator app. It looks like a calculator and it works like a calculator. The default password to the calculator app is .1234. You hit AC, and all the files they don't want you to see will come up. Oh my God. How do I know if my kid has this? What am I going to do? Easy. No kid needs two calculators. If they had two calculators that look alike, one of them's a vault. And Snapchat is so fantastic, they have their own vault called My Eyes Only. All these teenage girls are like, oh, crap. So what you do is you grab the phone you allow them to use, and there's a deck of cards underneath their Snap button. You hit that little deck. If you see My Eyes Only and a pad comes up, that means they're hiding pictures and videos they don't want you to see. Okay? So no longer do our kids have to take these nasty pictures on the fly. They can take the nasty pictures or the pictures of them doing drugs, getting in fights, doing beer bongs, whatever, and they hide them in their vault on Snapchat. These are the things you need to be aware of. So we are trying to give you the tools where kids hide stuff from their parents. I like this one. All right, sweetheart, if you want an Instagram, I'm going to have to follow you, and you're going to have to follow me. That's the only way you're going to get one. Welcome to the world of Finsta. You see, your kids have an Instagram account they want you to know about. But then they have a real one called their Finsta that they use. How do I know if my kid has a Finsta? Because on their social networks, they're going to post where the parties are at, what they're smoking, what they're drinking, what they're doing here, what they're doing there. How do you know if your kid has a Finsta? Go to the one you know about. And if you don't see any messages, posting, likes, whatever, for a week or two, because they're on it every day, you know they have a Finsta. Simple. So I wanted to show you, because I was sick and tired when I was working, going to an overdose where I have to step over a beautiful 18-year-old girl's body because she OD'd. And then I would see cut straws, razor blades on the counter, saying, Mom, what's up with all the cut straws? Well, I just thought she had a nervous habit. Are you kidding me? Or we have an OD in their car, and we have all the foil packets on. Well, didn't you see the foil packets? Well, she likes to chew gum. What? So I want you to be aware of what this stuff looks like. So here are some things. Wax is that substance over there, okay? Now, when you look at this thing here, it's not a vase. Okay, that's a bong. If you see a scale in your kid's room, an electronic scale, doesn't mean they're really smart in science. Usually they are weighing out their weed, make sure they're not getting ripped off, or they're selling, okay? This little thing right here, this is called a grinder. They put their buds in there and they grind it up. No, it's not a hockey puck or something for makeup. No. So when we look at other things, such as rolled up dollar bills, Xanax bars, cut straws, you're missing some spoons out of your cabinet. These are signs that if you're putting away clothes, if you see these things, ladies and gentlemen, your kid is involved in the drug trade. Please understand that. One of the most powerful tools you can give your child is when you drug test them at home. Usually, now I have two boys. Both of my boys played college soccer. They're outstanding athletes. My oldest one, graduated from Benedictine University. He's a firefighter, paramedic in Lisle. My younger one's at Benedictine now, and he plays soccer, and he's a goalkeeper for Benedictine. So throughout their life, throughout their high school life, I always drug tested my boys. And I usually did it right when all their friends were over. Because when they started acting a fool, I'd say, you know what, come on upstairs. What's up, Dad? Just come on upstairs. Pee in a cup. What? Pee in a cup. For what? You don't trust me, Dad? It's not that I don't trust you. You tell me that one more time, I know you're hot. Look, we have invested so much time and effort in you, and we want you to know that I love you so much that I don't want you to make a mistake and throw your whole life away. Pee in a cup. Fine, just fine. Pees in a cup. I said, now go downstairs. So what do you think? What does he think he does when he goes downstairs? Can you believe my dad? What a jerk. 1 leaves, 2 leave, 3 leaves. And then when my kid went to parties, what tool do I give him when 80% of the kids in high school smoke weed? Dude, I can't. My parents drug test me. What? And then his friends would get on it. Hey, how about taking a hit? No, don't give it to him. His dad's going to kick his ass because he drug tests him. It is the most powerful thing you can do for your child. Because when they think they're going to get drug tests, and usually I pull out the drug test right around prom and homecoming, put them on a table, just let them sit around. They never know when it's going to come. Because when I drug tested my younger one, my older one sat us down and said, hey, guys, I just want to let you know that was the best thing you ever did for me. Because all of my friends smoked weed. And yeah, I was tempted, but I knew Dad would get at me if I would test hot. So here's the conversation. You cannot just say, pee in a cup. you have to have a plan. So when the Naperville Police Department used to give away drug test kits, I used to use seizure money to buy drug test kits from medtox.com. So parents used to come in. I said, hey, send me an email and let me know. You see, ladies and gentlemen, there is no greater gauge than a mother's intuition. It is God's gift to the humans because God gave moms this awesome power to protect their babies. Whether your baby is 6 months old or 50, that stuff never goes away. And if you're feeling something, moms, my advice to you is to investigate, investigate, investigate. God will never lead you wrong when he's trying to tell you there's something wrong with your baby. Please, follow that. Because when you decide to drug test, you must have a plan. Okay, so here's the plan. Before you think, because moms know, I think he's doing this, I think he's doing that. And dads, you must follow your wife. Don't be like, oh, you're crazy. No, you must parent as a team. Because that's what's going to make your kids safe. Parent as a team. Even if you're divorced, parent as a team. So what happens is, before you get the drug test, you must know what your protocol is. What if they're negative? What if they don't want to take it? What if they're positive? Don't just do it by emotion. You contact Adam. You contact Matt or Aaron and say, what's the protocol I use if my kid tests hot? And they will recommend you what you should do, okay? So you have to be ready for this. I want to take a drug. For what? Don't you trust me? I trust you, but there's some things that are going on that I'm seeing that I need to be sure of. Peeing, fine. They pee, it's negative. That is a day of shopping on you. That is their favorite restaurant on you. And you hug them and tell them you love them and say, thanks for being a great kid. Let's say that, no, you're not respecting my privacy. You're like, oh, hell no, there's none of that in my house. So, if they refuse to take a test, it's a positive test. If they pee and it's a positive test, say, okay, we're not going to argue about this. You need help, and I'm going to help you before it gets worse. Because if we don't give you help right now, you're progressively going to get worse, as you heard the experts talk about. So then you're going to invoke the plan that they tell you that you need to invoke. But the tool that you give them by drug testing them in the home, you go to CVS, Walgreens, get a THC test or whatever, you're giving them the biggest tool you can ever give them. So again, not only that, but for yourself, there are monitoring softwares out there that you can put in the phone that you allow them to use, where you can see all their conversation remotely. You can go ahead and see where they're at, who's calling them, all of those things with software that you put right in the phone. If your kid has an iPhone, Bark and WebWatcher are the best things you can buy. If you want to get into their Snapchat, they have to have an Android, and you use WebWatcher, and it'll actually record the screen remotely while they're in Snapchat.